done Disney.
Yep.
You're going to eat prime rib tomorrow. I mean, other than the playoff, is there a better bowl game than the Rose Bowl in terms of like the outside hoopla and all that stuff?
Yeah, no, I don't know. It definitely is a great experience so far. The Rose Bowl, their committee, their staff has been nothing but fantastic to us. And our team, realistically, it's been first class since we stepped off the plane. So it's been fantastic. Can't wait for Lowry's tomorrow. Sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun too. So just enjoying experiences, but at the same time locking in when we know to lock in and having a blast doing it.
I was going to say, I think one of the keys in any bowl game is to balance the fun
right.
with the knowing you have to get down to work. And this team seems to be pretty good at doing that.
Yeah, no, we definitely are. I think that we're experienced. I think we have that older leadership, you know, blessing in disguise from COVID, having, you know, older guys on the team being able to work around that and be able to really have an extra louder voice on days like this, on games like this, bowl games, just the experience. You know, Manny Diaz, he asked us to raise our hands of guys who had not only been in bowl games but won bowl games. So, you know, it was cool to be able to see a good amount of hands go up and really lean on that leadership in these days, just to make sure we're locked in, we're getting the work that we need, but also having fun doing it.
When you look at Utah, do they almost seem like more like a Big Ten team?
You know, it's a different style. I think it's definitely a different style. You know, you see it just in little nuances here and there, but realistically, you know, football's football. You know, they play with 11 guys, we play with 11 guys, and then it's just, you know, doing some things schematically. But realistically, you know, they're a really good football team. They got talented players across the board. Definitely going to be a challenge, but we're really excited to take on that challenge.
I think neither one of you fully expected to be in this game. If you go back, you know, a month or 2 months, that kind of makes the matchup a little fascinating, right? You didn't maybe expect to be here a few months ago, but now here you both are, right?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really expect to be anywhere because we were just focusing on the next week. That's really what we've been about all year. You know the motto, you know, 1-0, and that's. You know, to say that we were looking to bowl season any time before that last game would be a lie. Realistically, we do a really good job of staying consistent and not focusing on the future. So, you know, it's just a blessing to be here, blessing to be selected as, you know, Rose Bowl team, and now working to be Rose Bowl champions.
A lot of people want to say that Utah and Penn State kind of are a mirror image of each other and how you kind of approach things. Do you see that on film, and maybe kind of what do you see going up against this Utah team?
Of course, yeah. I think that, you know, Utah has a great core leadership. I think that they do a really good job of showing a bunch of different looks, and that's just kudos to not only the defense coordinator but also the guys buying in and realistically saying, hey, you know, we're going to do the extra work. We're going to study a little bit more to get our team to where it needs to be. You know, you see it on film. They're very rehearsed. You know, they don't show their shell very often. They disguise very well, which means they're a very well coached football team. So much respect to them. It definitely is. It just shows who they are as a program. So it's impressive.
Sean, has it been difficult for you to kind of balance between knowing this is your last game, but also fully enjoying the Rose Bowl experience, just soaking it all in here in Pasadena?
Not really. I think that, you know, maybe just because of how old I am, you know, 6 years, it's a long time. So realistically, I'm excited for my last game. I'm excited to represent Penn State one more time and do it in a big fashion with like the Rose Bowl. So can't ask for anything more. Realistically, I'm having a blast and enjoying every moment of it.
Sean, is there a defense in the Big Ten that you played that you could compare Utah to?
I would say Purdue was similar a little bit, just because of some of the looks that they ended up bringing. A little bit more zero. You see that in the last couple of games that they played. USC bringing a little bit more pressure in the conference championship game. I thought that they handled that pretty well. So just being prepared for all the looks throughout the whole season that they've given us. That's the one thing about the bowl game. Obviously, you get a very wide variety of different looks, but you can study them all to kind of be prepared for the general shell, have a really good feeling about, okay, it's 2nd and 10, 2nd and 8. What is the defense coordinator really thinking on this? What has he been consistent with? Just breaking it down, studying it to the psychological level, and being able to then make calls during the game to enhance it.
You're playing a conference with a lot of traditional blue bloods, including Penn State, obviously. But when you look at a team like Utah, kind of what's your perception of them when you got paired up with them?
I think that they're a very talented football team, just like us. You watch them on film. They play extremely hard. They play fast and smart, like I said before. So that's what jumps off on the tape. Especially when you're going through a year, you don't really get to see the other side of the country that much. You catch a game after you play a noon game here and there, but realistically, you're playing your game. You're trying to get back and get some sleep, and then you're on to the next one. So it's been tough to see all these teams, but just watching them on film, they're very similar to us. They run fast, they play hard, they play aggressive, and that reminds me a lot about Penn State football too. So.
You guys are kind of similar to Utah in that you utilize the tight ends heavily. Can you kind of just speak to how you guys utilize the tight ends this year?
Yeah, when you have a room like us, Brenton Strange, Theo Johnson, Tyler Warren, all three of those guys really provide a lot of value, and you can't leave them off the field. So getting out of 11 personnel, getting into 12, 13 even, bringing in big bodies, it just messes with personnel. It makes the other team really have to look who's on the field, be strategic about who's going to be on the field, who's going to be off the field, just because they can do everything. They can block, they can run routes, they can catch. So it presents a lot of challenges for teams, and I'm sure you'll see it soon too.
Sean, we've talked to you before about your relationship with Mitchell and with him, get to know him. You guys have taken kind of different paths in your college career. You've been here for a long time. He's been to get to this point.
Right.
This has been cool to see from your end, him grow and him develop and him make such a big impact in 1 year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Mitch Tinsley came in realistically with one goal in mind, and that was to win football games and to get better as a player. And he did a really good job of that. Being my roommate, he was in my ear 24/7, asking about the playbook, constantly wanting to get better. When can we run some extra routes? When can we do this? When can we do that? So it was a great relationship we've had throughout this year. I'm definitely miss the guy, but wish him well, and have one more with him though. So it'll be a lot of fun.
I'm sure you've been asked this already, but for just you personally, how has the last kind of couple of days been getting out here, being able to experience this in your last game?
Yeah, it's been a blast. It's been nothing but fun. We've had a few days to be able to kind of relax, practice a little bit, have some lifts, but at the same time just really focus on being around the team and camaraderie and everything. Today is going to be our first padded practice, back at it truly. Really excited to get back out there. We had a Skelly yesterday, 2 days ago, but it's been a blessing. It really has, just to be able to represent Penn State one more time, be able to do it on such a big stage like the Rose Bowl. It's just so much fun to be here and be with the teammates that I love and appreciate.
How important is that camaraderie aspect of it, sir? Obviously, it's a big game, it's a big opponent, big occasion. But for you, in your last bowl trip, in your last few days, week around this team and these guys that you've known for so long, how important is that camaraderie aspect of it to you personally?
Yeah, it's huge. It's half of it right there. Winning the game obviously is the most important, but at the same time, it's my last one. Want to be able to see those guys, one last time. It's just not going to be the same, and that's probably the one thing I going for me that I know. I've seen a bunch of guys come in and out of the program. I've heard the stories of once you leave, it's just not the same. The NFL is not the same. The work environment's not the same. It's not the locker room like college ball. So just being able to take advantage of that and really, be excited about the little things. That's the biggest takeaway for me. It's just having fun with the littlest moments with my teammates and having a blast.
Sean, how has this past month been for you? Have you been able to reflect on your career yet?
I would say a little bit, for sure. Just being able to look back, especially during the downtime, during the Christmas time. We were actually going through my parents' TV. It's an old TV, and they recorded all the games, so that we just went back and watched a bunch of them, and it was so much fun because we convinced them to get a new TV. So they were getting rid of it, and they were going to lose all the games on the recordings, but we were just going through it and just all the cool experiences, all the teams that I played on. It was just fantastic. Couldn't thank Penn State enough to be in the position that I've been in, and just cool day, definitely to spend time with family.
Do you remember any of those games in specific that you guys looked over? Or some memories?
Just looking back, I think, the Michigan whiteout in 2019, just being my first whiteout, was one that when I turned it on, I was like, wow, that was awesome. Just the environment, the excitement, the magnitude of that game going into that year, my first year starting too. I think that one stood out. But the list goes on and on. Games from this year, games from 2019, even games from 2018 when I was just getting a snap or two, just being able to be out there, the excitement of just being able to play ball in front of so many people and so many great fans. It's truly been an honor. Yeah.
Do you remember when you knew you wanted to come to Penn State? Like the first, just in terms of not even football, just like college in general.
Yeah, I definitely do. I was visiting. I didn't visit a ton of schools. I got offered by a decent amount, but that was before everybody was touring everywhere. I'm here 6 years, so I've committed almost 10 years. I feel like it was 2015. So almost 8 years ago. So it was a different time in recruiting back then. But no, for me, I remember I was driving in the car back home, and it was my dad. And my buddy Matt Bockhorst and I, who ended up going to Clemson. But we both got offered that day, and we were talking about it, and he was juiced about getting offered and everything. But I just remember I was like, I don't think I can find another place like that. It was just a different feeling when I got offered. I felt like I was really at home. I felt like it was the right fit. And then not too long later, I committed. So, it's been a long 8 years, but it's been the best 8 years of my life. Just being able to be committed to a school, to be loved by a school, and to just have so many friends through this whole experience has been amazing.
Have you had any conversations with Drew just about the journey itself? Because I feel like you guys had at least similar journeys in the sense that you both got offered by Penn State relatively early, committed, and kind of just shut down the recruitment after that. Yeah, no, Drew and I are similar cats in that regard. I'm not a huge social media guy. I know I run a company off of it, but at the same time, I that's more the entrepreneurial side. I'm not, if you look at my social, it's pretty generic for the most part. Try to dress it up, but at the same time, Drew and I are similar on that. But from telling him stories and everything, yeah, absolutely. Just sharing experiences, sharing the ups and downs, just the little nuances of things that have happened in the past that I wish I could have done better, or things I was proud that I handled it a certain way. Just trying to share as much knowledge as possible, because it's really the day in, day out that makes the quarterback. It's not just what you see on Saturday. It's who you are on Monday, on the off day, when nobody wants to come in the facility and you got to bring all your wideouts in to make sure we're getting extra film in, or middle of the summer on a Wednesday night, and you're trying to get guys up just to get some deep ball work in. Whatever it might be, it's just about those one-off experiences or moments that you got to take advantage of as a quarterback. And I think that Drew and Bo are both fully capable of doing that in the future, and I'm excited for them. Sean, James has said that the lack of opt-outs has to do with the leadership of the captains and the message they're sending. What do you think the lack of opt-outs says about your team?
I'm proud of it for sure. I think that it just shows the compassion and the love that this group has for one another. I think it shows the magnitude of the Rose Bowl also. I think it's very important that the guys who were here the whole season, finish this thing off the right way. I think that we did a really good job of motivating to get to this point, and it's the Rose Bowl. It's the granddaddy of them all. So realistically, if you're not excited for this one, I don't know. really what else to do for you.
You have that opportunity to play in the Rose Bowl now. What have you seen from Utah's defense on film? Any tendencies, anything about Utah that kind of stands out to you?
Yeah, no, I think that they're very similar to our defense. I see a lot of similarities. Physical, fast, strong, aggressive at the point of attack, especially up front. They play relatively low as well, just in general, just because of how aggressive they are. I think the conference championship was one that kind of showed truly how aggressive they can be. They brought a lot of heat against USC, so just being able to see all those looks, balance them, and have answers. But just to them as a defense, very impressed. Can't say enough about how their team is, and just it just seems like they're very well coached.
Your OC says it reminds him of a Big Ten defense.
Yeah.
Did you respond to that?
Yeah, I would agree with Coach Jursich on that one. Like I said, big, aggressive, fast, going to play really hard, play with a lot of passion, and that's what the Big Ten's very known for that as well.
Going back to Drew, and what aspects of his game would you say he's grown the most over the past year? And what do you think your expectations are for him moving forward?
Yeah, I think that for Drew, he works really hard. He does the little things right. He puts in the extra work. He's in the film room. When I'm in there, which is late nights, early mornings, whatever it might be. So kudos to him on that. I think that he's definitely picked it up and really learned how to learn, which is a key, something that a lot of people just don't really dive into until they're later in their years. So he definitely has got it from that regard. I think that the dynamic of him and Bo both pushing each other. I think that they're both very competitive. I think that I've been known to be a little competitive over the years. So I think that both of them have that as well. But also just the love of the game and the love of team and everything. I think that Drew's definitely right there. He loves football as much as anybody. So I'm really excited for him, and for expectations. I got no expectations, but for him to realistically just be his best self. I think that he could be a fantastic player here, and I'm just really excited to see him in the future.
How much does just getting off to a good start really come down to inner confidence for you guys and going out there and believing you can do it, not just Utah's defense, even really good?
Yeah, I think that you just got to come out with that swagger that you've had all year. Just being able to say, we've been in the big games, we've been here before, and now we just got to play our most complete game, play our best game in our last hours here. So like I've said a bunch, Utah's a very good team, but we're excited for the matchup.
How do you guys set that tone at practice this week to say, we're going to get out to a fast start? How do you set that sense of urgency?
Oh, it's easy when it's the last week. Guys lay it on the line now. It's all about just going 1-0, being putting together a full, complete game, and realistically, doing whatever it takes to come out with a win. So, really excited about where we're at. I think we've had a lot of fun up to this point, but with our first practice today, guys are really excited to get back out there, get the pads on, get going.
Sean, we saw Juice declare for the NFL a few days ago. How important has he been to this offensive line as a whole, but specifically the running game, what you guys have been able to do in that area this year?
Yeah, honestly, he's been really important to me. Our relationship has grown and grown. He's taken over as center. You always have that close relationship with your center just because of he's really the quarterback of the offensive line. He's making calls. I'm relying on him to do a lot up front to make sure that we're when I say something, it's getting done. Whatever it might be, if it's a double team, if it's a slide protection, whatever it might be, he's the one who I got to trust to get that job done and communicate that across the line. And he's done a great job with, you got an All-American left tackle all the way to a true freshman who just came in for his first start. He's dealt with, an array of players. It's been the same guy every single day. I think the young guys really appreciate what his work ethic is like, how much he wants to win. He competes his ass off. So he's been nothing but a blessing for me just to be around. Role model, honestly, somebody who I look up to. and I'm gonna definitely miss him, but I know he's gonna find a new quarterback who's gonna love him just as much as I do. So.
Was there a moment this season where you realized that you guys are most effective with the running game that helped the passing game, and you were like, wow, these guys are good, and this is going to make things easier for me?
Yeah. I think that within the first couple games, you started to see some big runs pop off from all of them. Nick, Katron, Kevon. The big plays across the board. I think that really started to show me, what the running game could be like. And I think that also allowed the O-line to really buy in and say, okay, these guys behind us they're impressive. Lock in and really study it even harder than before, and it's definitely paid off. I think our running game has been phenomenal this year with two young backs, and I think that the world is their oyster for sure. They're very impressive.
Sean, there's always focus on the explosive run plays, but you guys were significantly better in short yardage this year. I mean, what do you attribute that to?
Yeah, I think that's just the details. That's the minor details, the little here and there that, we got 4 yards when it really should have been 1 yard. That's the little details that nobody really appreciates. Everybody wants to see the big runs or the big throws, which obviously being explosive is part of the game. But at the same time, picking up on 2nd and 8, 5 yards instead of 2, and getting to 3rd and 3. 3rd and short's a lot different than 3rd and medium. Like, it's a whole nother category of plays that we're talking about. It's less distance that we need to get to the next set of downs. And it's those little details that add up throughout the game. It's a game of inches, and we see it every single time. So I think that's really what it's all about with the run game is studying the little details, recognizing how important that 2nd and 8 it really is, being efficient on 1st down and 3rd down, and that just comes with a great running game.
Sean, how would you describe the impact Mitch had in his final college season here? What did he specifically mean to you on the field through the 12 games here?
Yeah, I thought that he had a phenomenal season. I think that realistically he came in with a very, very strategic approach. He wanted to make sure that he was doing everything in his power to contribute to this team, but also make the guys around him better. I thought that the wide receiver room really took a step in leadership as well. KJ was great, Jahan was great, but that room needed somebody with Parker and him and Dre, and I think that they came together really early and set the tone. And realistically, the year went very smooth from that position, just because I didn't have to jump in really. It was their team, it was their group, it was their team, and it was led by guys like Mitch. So kudos to him. Gonna miss him for sure.
So you mentioned Mitch, obviously Parker. So that those two guys are moving on. So where's that room go from here, in your opinion?
I think that it's definitely a room that is gonna need the leadership to step up. I think that Keandre is right in line for that. I think that he's a fantastic player with a lot of talent. Ready to step into a leadership role. I think it goes then to Trey, Liam, that crew. They're a little bit younger, but at the same time, I think it's time for them to step up. I'm excited for a guy like Liam as well, just because I know that we talk about leadership all the time, and to be able to now see him take a new role on the team as I leave, it'll be very cool to see. But I think that Coach Franklin does a really good job of getting the right guys in the room. So I don't think it's going to be that hard to lead with this group. They have a lot of talent. They have a lot of skill, but at the same time, they're hard workers. So I think that it'll be pretty easy to lead the group of wideouts going forward. And it's also on the quarterbacks as well. So
has it sunk in that you're in the final week of a relatively long career?
Yeah, for sure. It definitely has. Just the events and everything. It's been a blast. I think that's kind of what I have going for me. Compared to guys who might have been younger in the position that they're in about leaving, going to the next level. I'm ready for it. I know it was coming. So I've been able to really recognize that, enjoy these last moments, and just have a blast this week. It's been so much fun.
What's your next step? I'm sorry, Rich, but what's your next step after?
Yeah, I'll be going down to Miramar, Florida to go train, and then just get ready for everything to come and put my best foot forward for the NFL. Really excited to take on that journey, obviously, after the Rose Bowl. Not trying to get ahead of myself, but just to answer your question, yeah, just take one step at a time to to continue to complete my dream, just to continue to keep on playing football. Love the game, so really excited for my next steps and my next parts of this journey.
You talked about this 2 weeks ago about being how happy you were playing in the Rose Bowl. You're here now. What does it mean to you? Do you have to pinch yourself sometimes?
Oh yeah, I've been numerous times I've had to kind of pinch myself or snap myself into this reality, just because Liam and I were talking about it. It's just so surreal sometimes. Just what I've experienced and what we've been able to do as a team, and now to be able to be here in my last game, it's just so cool to be able to recognize that, enjoy the moment, and just have so much fun. It really is. It's just so much fun.
Going off that, the excitement and the emotions with it being your last game, how do you stay locked in on the business aspect of it?
Yeah, I think that once you're in the practices, you're in the film room, it's just being there, being in the moment, being present, because I've done it so many times now. It's not like I'm we're going to Disneyland and then I can't lock. It's a very important game. I understand the magnitude of it, so it's easy to kind of bounce in and out, lock in, lock out. So I think that it's not as difficult as you think. I definitely understand how big the game is. So.
Sean, what have the tight ends meant to this team?
Oh, a ton. I think that being able to get into different personnels, not only go from 11, but go 12, 13, 22, whatever the personnel might be. It's just tough for defense coordinators to keep up with sometimes. And when they're as talented as these guys are in the the run game, blocking, pass game, even getting involved in blocking, and then the way they run routes, the way they catch the ball, it's very impressive.
Can I follow up this? Brenton Strange, what is he mean specifically?
Yeah, I think Brenton's leadership, Brenton's charisma in that room, and realistically just how he carries himself. I think that he's been the keystone for that group, somebody who's really locked them in and taught them the way. And I think that with the guys returning, it's going to be a great room to follow up with. So.
Sean, you probably answered this already, but just how important is this win for you, to getting this, and just for you personally and your career, looking back on your legacy?
Yeah, I think it's super important. It's my last game. It's our last game as this team, and for this university, I want nothing else but to get a Rose Bowl win. It's the Rose Bowl. It really it's the granddaddy of them all. It's one that I've watched for years. I've watched great players come in and out of this game, play in this game, have great games. So for me to have just the opportunity to be a spoke in the wheel for this team, for this game, I'm excited. So one goal in mind, that's for sure.
What's been your favorite Rose Bowl moment over the years?
Favorite Rose Bowl in a moment? Probably, honestly, I know the outcome wasn't what we wanted, but in 2016, watching Penn State, just because I knew that I was going to be on that team the next year, it was definitely cool just to see, the greats of, Trace and Say, have great games, and, Chris Godwin, get a bunch of guys making big plays, and then right after that being able to be on that same team. I think it's got to be probably my favorite Rose Bowl, I guess.
There were a number of iconic plays in that game. Which is the one that stands out for you?
Probably the one where, for me is more of a quarterback play. Everyone probably would say the Saquon run, but the one where Trace rolled to his right and threw the one to Godwin in the end zone. I thought that was like this. Yeah, it was a cool play. So hope to make some of those coming up pretty soon as well.
Where were you at that day? Where did you watch the game from?
With my family at home. And that was probably another reason why it was so cool. I just had, a bunch of family around, was watching the game and just talking about it could literally be us. And I was like, oh yeah, sure. And now sitting here in my last game, it is. So awesome. Thanks everybody.